What's up, everyone? Matt, Leighton, Shawn Battle here. Welcome back to another real estate video. Guys, today I'm super excited. We're going to do the top 5 things that real estate agents don't tell you, don't have to tell you. These are things that if you ask a real estate agent this question, they might not have to tell you the answer.
That's true.
They're probably not going to lie to you, but they don't have to give you a firm answer. They could give you a flexible answer or a very vague. It's basically 5 things that when you ask an agent directly, they're just not going to tell you, and they're going to find a way to skirt around that answer. So,
yeah, and just let it be known that we're talking about real estate in Virginia. Disclosure laws change in every jurisdiction. We're talking about Virginia. Virginia disclosure laws are pretty vague, to be honest. But the first thing we're going to talk about is old water damage, right? Yeah. Water damage, fire damage, things like this that have been fixed.
So the question is, has the property ever flooded? Does it have a history of being flooded? Is there any fire damage on the property? Things like that.
If it has already been taken care of, if the fire damage is gone and it's been totally renovated, you don't have to disclose that. If the water damage has been taken care of, there was a flood in here before, and now there's no flooding, and the walls that were destroyed by that flood have been taken care of, and there's no more things you have to do, then you don't have to disclose that.
I mean, unless you're literally asking that question with like 2 feet of water, like up to your shins, the agent, they don't have to tell you that answer, because that information is not present. It's not currently going on. Unless the attic is literally on fire right now, they just don't.
Or yesterday.
If it's a problem in the past that's been corrected, water damage, hey, has this basement ever flooded? Which is that's like a reasonable question. It's not you go to an open house, hey, has this basement ever flooded?
That could be, has it ever?
Yeah.
If it's a reoccurring thing, then it's a disclosure thing. But if it's a one-time thing that has been taken care of, or if it was a lot of times what happens is you'll have those drains in the basements, just outside of the basement, where leaves get caught up in it, and that all comes in and it floods your whole basement. Happened to my sister. As long as you've taken the necessary steps, if there's mildew, mold, things like that, you've gotten rid of it, you've changed out the carpets, changed out the drywall, and it's all good, no disclosure, you're good.
Cool. So that's the first thing that a real estate agent will never tell you. Let's move on to number 2. What do we got?
Ooh.
This is a tough one.
Did somebody die in this property? Was somebody murdered here? Was there a suicide in it? Don't have to disclose that. Even though that's the weirdest thing, I would want to know if somebody died in my property or was killed or what went on in there. But it's something you don't have to tell anybody. I mean, you could do, and I've done the research on some properties where I had a suspicion. I've gone on and just looked up, Google it. Hey, was there a murder at this address? Sometimes it comes up.
Yeah, it's very easy to find if there was a murder, if there was foul play, if someone had taken their own life. It's very easy to find that. But if you ask an agent, hey, was someone murdered in this property? They don't have to tell you that information. So some people care if someone dies in the property, but I mean, people are gonna die. People are gonna. I don't want to get too graphic, but things are going to happen in your house. So do you really care about that?
Yeah, I mean, some people are very, they do care a lot about that thing. Other people are just completely different. So if that's your thing, then do the research. And there's plenty of properties that, not even a malicious death, it would be grandma died here. You know what I mean? It happens all the time. We don't have to tell you that.
Right.
So I'm sure that it's happened in a lot of your houses.
Yeah, and sometimes you can walk into a room and you almost feel it, which brings us to the third thing on our list.
Oh yeah, wait, I'm gonna go back on one thing on this. I did go through one where I found out that there was a murder-suicide in a house. I just wanted to go in for my own kind of, curiosity, and to be honest, you could tell there was a murder-suicide in the house. I mean, at that time, they just cut out the carpet and kind of cleaned up the walls and stuff. And so I've seen it. It sold.
Wow.
I don't know if it was disclosed, but I knew it because I lived in that community at the time. It was up in Alexandria. And it sold. So there you go. Don't have to disclose. All right, that gets on to our next one.
So number 3 is this house haunted? Are there ghosts in this property? Are there extra, sixth sense? What
I don't even know.
Extra beings around? So again, along the lines of the getting murdered part, you don't have to disclose in the Commonwealth of Virginia if the house is haunted. I don't even know if because I mean, are ghosts real? I mean, that's
well, that's another thing. But I used to watch all those ghost shows when they first came out, and I was like, this is the coolest stuff ever because they have it on film, stuff flying through the air. I've gone to some places up in Pennsylvania that were haunted. You stay the night. You figure out if you think they really are or not.
Yeah, that's Pennsylvania. A lot of places in Pennsylvania are weird like that.
But truthfully, you don't have to disclose it. If you know that something is flying across the room in the middle of the night, weird things happened in the house, no disclosures.
Yeah, do you have to disclose
Good luck.
a
Have fun.
make-believe thing that doesn't exist?
Yeah, so some people really believe in that stuff, other people don't. But the good thing is when I'm selling real estate, I don't have to disclose that to you. The bad thing is you buyers that are receptive to this kind of thing, and it's a reception kind of thing. Some people are receptive to it. We're not disclosing it to you, so good luck. Have fun.
All right, so number 4, let's get back on track with real things that actually exist in the world. I'm just kidding. Ghosts might be real, whatever. So the 4th thing that agents don't or won't tell you are the price and terms of competing offers. So if you ask about a competing offer, they'll say, yeah, we have a really solid offer. We can't tell you the price. So if you're competing, well, I don't know. Can they tell you the price? Some may not, but depends on the questioning, right?
So some won't, some don't, but they can.
But they can.
So I grew up in real estate saying that you don't disclose what other agents have written. But through the years, you learn, you talk to lawyers, you can disclose whatever you want about those other offers. You're representing the seller, and the seller, your goal is to get the best terms of the contract for your seller. But a lot of agents will not tell you the terms of another offer. And if they do, they have to be fair with every other agent out there. So if you wrote an offer, and Kathy wrote an offer, and Michelle, hi Michelle, if she wrote an offer, and I told you what these other 2 offers were, I would actually have to tell all parties. But a lot of times, we won't tell you those terms, and we'll say, write your best offer. And that's where escalations come in, and that's where, you're aiming to get the best price, but what is better, telling the people what these offers are or not telling them? Because then you start writing escalation clauses and people start going a little nuts. You might get more favorable terms if you don't disclose it.
Yeah, I think if you just walk into an open house and the agent says that they have a couple offers and you ask them, they're just be like, oh no, I can't tell you that information. But if you keep asking and you're persistent and you're like, all right, well, we're gonna come in at 500,000 with this, that, and the other. And if there's higher offers, maybe they're like, hey, listen, I think you should go a little bit higher. And then you keep that conversation going, and they realize that, hey, you're a serious buyer with tight contingencies. They might just tell you the exact price and terms, but keep in mind, ideally all parties in the transaction are gonna know, in the potential transaction, are gonna know all the terms and the price.
And for me, as a buyer's agent in that situation, I'm asking questions, right?
Right.
I'm trying to get all the information that I can. Most of the time, agents will not give you any particulars. Sometimes they do, which is great for my buyer, but in turn, they're doing the same thing to everybody else, trying to get those prices up. So it could work in your favor. It could come back to haunt you. And a lot of times, agents get bad reputations, or a lot of times buyers think they're lying to them because, oh, there's no way that they have multiple offers, and then they lose it. And oh, maybe they were right.
Yeah, I think the more communication you have with that listing agent, if you're a buyer or if you're a real estate agent, or if you have a listing, you have an agent representing you on the purchase, the more communication the better. Because if you just blindly submit, we both had buyers agents that will just blindly submit an offer.
No call, no email. Just all of a sudden I get an email with an offer.
And Shawn will be like, hey, yeah, we just got a 4th offer that came in. I didn't even know this guy showed the property. It's so low. And that agent's just uninformed because they just don't know. They haven't made that communication to understand that there could be an opportunity to win the property, but because they haven't communicated it correctly, they're just not going to.
It's all about communication, and your agent should be communicating with that listing agent because the relationship means a ton. When we're dealing with somebody for 30 to 45 days in the future and making sure that the contract's going to go through solidly without any hiccups,
Right.
we want to know that there's a solid agent on the other side that's doing their job, that you have a rapport with. So communication is key. Most of the time, they're not going to tell you how to get the deal, but write your best offer. That's all we
Keep
can say.
asking questions. Cool. Number 5, this is the 5th thing that real estate agents will not tell you, and that is personal details from the seller. So if Shawn is the listing agent and his sellers are unfortunately going through a divorce and I have a buyer, Shawn's not going to say, I'm going to ask him, hey, why are they selling?
Oh, they're going through the divorce.
Oh, yeah, they need to get out of here yesterday, he has a responsibility to represent his clients and get the highest price possible, and any information shared, like personal details about the seller, is going directly against Shawn's role and responsibility.
That's right. So I never disclose anything like that. However, as a buyer's agent, I'm asking the questions.
You're asking all
and
the
there's a lot of
questions.
agents that will disclose that to you, and they'll say, hey, it's a divorce. Well, that throws up a flag to me that maybe they just want to get rid of it. Maybe they just want to get it gone. So I'm going to put an offer that reflects that. So me personally, no personal information about my people, why they're moving. I try to be vague. Sometimes information is good in ways that'll help people write a better offer, but most of the time when it comes to personal things about the seller, you want to keep those close to your chest. We have confidentiality agreements that we have to hold dear to us. So.
Yeah, and we'll be vague. That's the workaround. We're not going to lie and say they're moving to California when they're moving up the street. I mean, we might say they're downsizing, or hey, they just need something bigger, or you might find something out about the house, like it's only a 2-car garage. Hey, they really wanted a 3-car garage, something like that. We're not going to say, hey, there's a death in the family, they have to sell. Any sort of personal details that weakens our countering point, our negotiation point. An agent just won't share those personal details about the seller.
We won't, right?
We won't.
Some will.
Yeah, some will. So, I mean, honestly, guys, keep asking questions, because there's a lot of things that agents will not tell you, will never tell you, unless you're asking these questions and honestly just having a genuine conversation, not interrogating the agent, but genuinely wanting to learn more about the property and about the seller.
You'll find out a lot asking the right questions. Now, I'm going to throw a curveball in here because we had 5 things. I'm going to throw one more in that I just thought about, and that is, again, about disclosures. If you're selling a condo and you're in a building, right? You only have to disclose what you know about that unit, the unit itself, not about the building. So when you sign a disclosure agreement statement with that seller, you're saying, what do you know wrong with this unit in particular, not the building. So, if there was a pipe leaking somewhere else in the building, that's not something you have to tell anybody. It's within the walls of your unit.
Right. So basically, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, it's a buyer beware state. So the seller has to disclose very little, unless there's literally an active leak or an active fire. I know it sounds insane that they would disclose that. Why don't you spend the time putting out the fire instead of disclosing that there's a fire? Unless there's an active event inside the walls of the condo, a seller doesn't have to disclose anything about the community as a whole, whether there's a lawsuit, special assessment. That's all taken care of by the community itself.
That's right. So you're going to get those papers from, the disclosures from the condo. That's going to be disclosed in there. So you're worried about your unit and your unit only.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Those are 6 things.
6 things that real estate agents will never tell you during the transaction. Hopefully,
unless you ask the right question.
Yeah, honestly, guys, listen. Hopefully, in this video, you learned a few kind of workarounds to ask the right questions to get the correct information. Because there's a lot of things that an agent won't tell you, but if you have a genuine conversation with them, you ask the right questions, you can learn more about the property, and that will help you win the offer against competing offers.
Absolutely.
Cool. So for Shawn and myself, thank you very much for watching. Until next time. Create a productive day. I'm using my own slogan on your videos.
Create a productive day, man.
What do you think about that?
Matt's good at this. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.